Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we create community, find freedom, promote preparedness, and share success. I don't even know what day it is. May 1st, I guess it is. And this will be my last podcast on the road. Tomorrow, we hop on the plane and we fly back to the Great White North. So it's been an awesome trip. It's been a long but fruitful trip. It's been an exhausting trip, but it's been an energizing trip all the same. So, you guys heard a lot about my vacation. Tonight, I want to share with you all the fun we had at the Lftn workshop, how much value we got out of finally meeting all of my imaginary internet friends in real life, and how I believe my wife had as much fun or more fun than I did. Just great. It was nice we had one extra day on the tail end. We booked it that way so we'd have one night to sit around and do nothing. So that was great. That's what we've done today. So I don't even know where to start exactly, but first off, I got to thank Nicole for inviting me down to speak at the workshop. It was incredible. She has built, what a facility she has there now. It's pretty neat because I mean it's her home. Everything she's built now is permanent. And what's really cool about it is all the fixtures and things that she's built for the workshops, number one, make her life better on a regular basis. But number two, once the money's spent, they're permanently there. So now she can have short workshops, long workshops. It's just a great model. And I am most certainly going to copy a lot of what she does, because my plan before was to have a workshop just like this. And now I am absolutely convinced we got to have one up on the prairies for us Western Canadians. And if things relax at the border, maybe we can talk some of my Midwestern friends to come up and visit us. But the first thing I got to say is I have interacted on a regular basis with dozens of people through the Survival Podcast, through the Lftn Living Free in Tennessee network, and now through my own community, the Workshop Podcast community. And you know a person to an extent when you talk online. You get a feel for their interests and their personalities, and you kind of figure, okay, I think I'm going to click with this person or that person. But meeting a whole bunch, like 75 freedom-minded folk all at once, had to have been the absolute best. And I'm going to mention a lot of people by names. And first off, if I forget, this is all basically coming off the top of my head. I scratched down a few notes just before we went live, but we are still recovering. Hey, Charlie Cole, nice to have you. I got the comments working at least on live with the iPhone, so that'll be good. But I'm going to go through it. I'm going to just real quick thoughts on some of the people. Like I said, to me, the most important aspect of this entire weekend that we've been planning for months was just to meet everybody and connect. And there's nothing better, guys. Hey, Carrie Brown, haven't seen you in ages. And yeah, absolutely. Speaking of people we connected with, we literally sat around chatting with Mr. Brown last evening and his wonderful wife, Angel. So in no particular order, I'll just real quick thoughts on some of the people I met and how much fun we had. But J.R. Haley, man, he's a beast of a man. Always wanted to meet the guy. And we had a great conversation. It was, all these people, it's like, hey, talk to them a little bit online, and it's like we just pick up in real life and meet. It was great. Patrick Rohrman, a man that I, basically considered a friend beforehand, but now, wow, we spent so much time chatting. It was just wonderful. It's so nice, guys, to get together and meet these people in person. John Pugliano was there. I picked his brain a lot for a lot of knowledge. That is one intelligent man. And I spent the better part of, might have been the first afternoon in his kind of outdoor workshop doing long distance ham radio connections. It was awesome. I learned a ton from him, ran some scenarios by him. Sue Zoldak, she spoke one day. If you guys don't know her, she's through the Lftn community. What an intelligent woman. She talked about, she does political activist type things, runs campaigns. What an encouraging lady, just awesome. And of course, Nicole, it was just like reuniting with an old friend that you hadn't seen in many, many years, except we'd never seen each other in person before. And we were lucky enough. It was just, I was just blessed to be able to see her and chat with her. And it was nice. And Tactical, my buddy Tactical Redneck there, we did a video. So you guys will see, talk a little more about this afterwards, but I really barely touched my phone while we were there. I had to force myself to take pictures the last day because it was just, we were so into chatting with each other. It's like, you don't even think to pick up your phone. But Tactical and I, we went down to his place and filmed a really cool, about 15-minute video on his tool bag, his go bag, different types of tools that he loves. So look for that to come out in the next couple of weeks. Nighthawk, what a great guy. Just always making you laugh. And just, yeah, who else? Aaron and Nate, you guys, it was so nice to finally meet them in person. I think we spent the better part of 2 evenings sitting around and chatting with them. And I think Becky hit it off with Aaron just as much as I hit it off with Nate. So it was great because we always say how in in our regular life, it's so hard to find like-minded folk that you connect with and you really enjoy and you want to, sit down and have a great conversation with. But when you get together with a bunch of freedom-minded folk like this, like the Lftn workshop, it's just like it just charges your batteries up and you're ready to go out and grab the world by the balls and do special things. And Aaron and Nate are going to do awesome, awesome things. They have got that motivation and the go-getting attitude. Yeah, great people. Great, great people. I met Ken, my buddy Ken Esch, in person. So there was more than half of the current lineup of the Fireside Freedom podcast people there. So Ken was there. It was so nice to sit and chat with him. And we've talked on live stream so many times, and it was just like we were talking on live stream, but in real life, so much more enjoyable. Amy Dingman, it was great to spend time with her. We chat all the time, somebody I consider a really good friend. And it was so nice to be able to pick each other's brains right in public. And she was the one that ended up talking me into going up and doing karaoke, which Becky said I didn't think I'd ever do, did you, hun? But there's picture proof, so it happened, guys. And it was Nirvana. And now I know the words to the chorus that I listened to my entire life and had no idea what the words were. Something like libido, mosquito, and a few other words that I could never figure out before. Carrie Brown, if you're in here, say hello to your wonderful wife, Angel. She literally is an angel, but I just loved our time around the fire and just completing the circle, sitting down, just, sharing time with like-minded friends, my friend. And Angel's what a wonderful lady who just encourages Carrie all the time. So thank you guys for being there and sitting down and spending time with us because we just loved it. And I had to stop and think. I was trying to think of who I had chatted with for the longest or knew for the longest before I ever met them in person. And it would have to have been someone I met through Zello. And I'm going to go with Leos probably. There was Leos there, Mike, and Oxymoron, or Oxy, as she calls herself. And they were all there. And it was so nice to go up and give Mike, goes by Leos on Zello, a great big hug in real life because him and I have had so many long conversations. And we didn't have a ton of time to chat this weekend, but it was just, for the time we got to spend together, it was great. Matt, the Agorist lawyer, you guys see him. He joined the Telegram group today. We had plenty of stimulating conversations. What an interesting dude. And just, you can tell he just wants to help people, teach people. And he is a go-getter. It was just great to chat with him. And Dawn. Now, everyone else on that list, basically, I really knew of before going there, had conversations with. And it's funny, sometimes people you've never met before, you didn't really even know who they were, had no interactions with, can end up being some of your biggest contacts. But I'm not sure if he'll listen to this episode yet or not, but Don from up in the Chicago area, he was on Nicole's show a while back. He's an EMT trainer, so he does a lot of teaching. And I started calling him my brother from another mother. Hey, Martinson family, how are you? I have to say Don. I'm just going to say Don from Chicago, and I apologize if it's not quite in Chicago, but he's damn close. We sat and chatted. We had so much in common. And he's a guy that's pretty rare that when I meet somebody, they make me feel like a regular size. So him and I were big dudes, and we teamed up as big dudes, and we shared information and exchanged gifts. And it was just so nice to find another like-minded soul. And it's a guy I'm going to keep up with. We exchanged phone numbers. And just what a hilarious guy he is. And we're going to have him on the show. So there's just so much to talk about. I guess I'll share some of my lessons. So when you guys, if any of you haven't been to something like this before, I guess the first thing is what you think you're going to get done is going to be way more than what you actually get done there. You can kind of make a choice. You're never going to be able to sit down. Okay, my biggest struggle at this workshop was I wanted to have deep, meaningful conversations with basically everybody there. And if you've got 75 people there and you have 4 evenings where you can hang out, it's not going to happen. And within the first day and a half, I realized, I'm like, listen, I need to pick and choose who I'm going to be able to sit down and chat with, and I will make time for everybody. But as far as a deep, meaningful 2 or 3 hour conversation, it's not going to happen with everybody. And I had to get that through my thick skull because I really wanted to. And for about a few minutes, I was thinking, I'm going to be disappointed if I don't get to. And then I realized, no, I just need to embrace it. Like I said, I went there, had no idea who Don was, and we had some of the best conversations going. But I realized I had to prioritize and spend the most time with the people that are the closest to me and meant the most to me. And we made new friends, made a ton of connections. As far as the list goes, so here's a few recommendations. First, coach your expectations. Don't expect that you're going to be able to spend a massive amount of time with absolutely everybody who's there. That's not going to happen. So instead of being disappointed that you didn't get to, consider yourself blessed that you were able to be in a group that big with that many people who build you up and just recharge your batteries. And then embrace the people that you're going to have time with, and apologize to the people, if you can, that you didn't get enough time with, but don't let it wear on you. Have a way to collect contacts and data. This was big. I met so many interesting people. I had, hey, Chris Dixon, how are you? I don't even know all the conversations I had, but I had a conversation with a gentleman that explained the inner workings of helicopters to me, and I was enthralled. Had conversations about ham radio, conversations about livestock, about it just did not matter. I didn't care. I had one lady who came up to me and said, I'm starting a business. And wow, that got me excited. And she knows who she is. And if she hears this, I hope that makes her smile just a little bit, because I know you can do it. I promise. So don't expect to meet and talk to everyone. It's not going to happen. Embrace the people. Embrace the conversations you do have. Don't rush through them. Enjoy them. I remember a couple of times just sitting there and just like soaking in the atmosphere. It was after dark. It was warm. Some of the dummies were singing karaoke, and we were just sitting around and we were sharing life experience, and we were being friends. And I don't know if we've ever quite connected with people like this, because we've never really been around this many people who felt the same way about life we did. And it was exciting. Absolutely. And of course, the next question everybody asks, well, so when are you guys going to move down south? And I mean, if we didn't think we wanted to before, I know we want to now. It would be so nice to be down in that general area to just spend time with as many friends as we could, and, get shit done. And anyway, so who knows? We're definitely going to work on it. And the thing that we've realized, one of the biggest things we've realized over the last 2 weeks of being on vacation, is we can run our businesses from away. Is it more difficult? Yes. More stressful? I don't know. But Becky did a hell of a job running the daycare, the administrative side of the daycare while we were gone. And I was able to get my employee, my son, to do all of the work for the handyman business. As far as my presentation and public speaking went, I was excited. be honest, I was a little happy nervous too, but that was okay. It'd been almost 20 years since I'd gotten up in front of a group. I used to do it all the time, but 20 years since I got up in front of a group and talked about anything, shared something with people, and it came back to me just like that. I mean, good practice. You put together a good outline and then you practice it many times, and I feel like I knocked it out of the park. I was so happy. And if you haven't seen it yet, guys, there's audio in the podcast feed and there's video over on the YouTube channel. The audio isn't, say, crystal clear. It's really good, but I didn't have it piped right into my microphone. But you know what? To be able to get access to that was great. Where to go from there? I met so many people. I had somebody come up to me. I'm not going to mention their name because they didn't say whether they wanted to be mentioned by name or not. Somebody brought me and gave me a bottle of bourbon for helping them out down the road, answering a few questions they had. And it was just, yeah, it was awesome. Carrie Brown says your talk was the perfect opening for the weekend. Thank you, Carrie. That's what I wanted to be, the cheerleader, like I said. Kind of an ugly cheerleader, but it was it was awesome. I just wanted it to be that rah, get you excited, get your mind thinking, and just get you absolutely motivated to get the hell out there and start something incredible. And Chris Dixon wants to know if we fell in love with Tennessee yet. Well, the short answer would be yes, and the long answer would also be yes. It was an incredible area that really reminded us of Nova Scotia, didn't it, babe? Yeah, it absolutely did. It really felt like kind of the inland valley area of Nova Scotia, and the people were just, oh, I mean, even the people we ran into that weren't part of Lftn were great. But yeah, we definitely fell in love with Tennessee for sure. Yeah, and I got a shout out to Brittany and her husband, Matt. Sorry, I've never had this happen to me before, but apparently he was quite excited that I got to spend a bunch of time chatting with his wife, and I was able to send him a little Snapchat video, just a greeting, and I was so excited to make his day. And so anyway, I just got a shout out to them because Brittany and Matt, you guys are going to do great friggin' things, and I am excited to see what you are going to do. And I'm excited, Brittany, to count you as a friend at this point. Another lady whom we had never really had any interaction with before this, and we spent a lot of time chatting with her, didn't we, babe? Yeah, really appreciated it. And again, I know I will forget people, but I did my best to remember. And if we had a great conversation at Lftn, or if we made good contacts, thank you, guys. Now, as far as what to do with the contacts, and this was all a brand new kind of experience for me. I wanted to go down and meet everybody and talk to everybody, but I wanted it to be productive as well. And first off, you got to know, I mean, if you got to be really intentional if you want to get a lot of content at a weekend deal like this. And you almost have to decide, do I really want to spend a lot of time talking or a lot of time creating content or getting content? And to me, chatting with other people was way more important. And I ended up finding out that I never touched my phone or looked at my phone for hours on end. Just leave it on the table, and it didn't matter. You could leave anything out there at all and nobody would ever bother it. It was awesome. I got a little bit of content done, but I had to rely on my wonderful wife to help me keep everybody in line, the different names that I made contacts with. What I found worked for me was if I met someone interesting who was interested in being on the show, I kept a notepad on my phone and I would write their name, first and last name, and the topic that they are an expert on or passionate about. And you know what was really, really great? I would say more so than anything, people talk about their passions all the time, but you can just see that glint in their eye when they talk about their passions to you face to face. And that's how you find out the things that people really love and they really want to teach and talk about. Rachel says, good evening, Tim and Becky. Would have been here sooner, but was wrangling ducks. Rachel Brown says, that's okay. Whenever we went to Nicole's, we had to slow down so that we had to let, the ducks have the right of way there. So we had to be kind of careful. But I'm just trying to think. So as far as some of the topics and things that I talked to guys about coming on the show, had a great conversation with somebody who'd like to come on about presenting and doing public speaking, which would be awesome. a couple of guys that are into the homesteading thing. Oh, you know what? Before I talk about that a little more, let's jump into this. So if you are a new content creator or somebody who's just getting started, or somebody who's, got a couple of years under their belt or whatever, here's the thing. Don't undersell yourself because you're an expert. Whatever you're talking about or teaching about, you're passionate about that. And there's a reason you want to teach other people. I had some conversations with some people, and you could tell that it was almost like they were nervous or insecure about jumping in and asking for something or wanting to come on my show. People were concerned that whatever they were talking about wasn't good enough to be on the show. Well, number one, if you're talking about it, it's already good enough. So, get out of your own way and remember that you're worth it, and shoot big, because that's how you grow. Reach out to content creators who are bigger than you in audience size. I don't mean anything other than that. In audience size, or just, stretch yourself out into new communities, new audiences. That is the best way to grow. So don't short sell yourself, because when you're thinking, I don't know, should I reach out to this fella or not reach out to that fella? That's your brain saying, wait a minute. I know I should do it, but I don't feel worthy. And that's the wrong thoughts. Reach out, because the absolute worst thing you can do, the absolute worst thing that can happen to you, is somebody's going to say no. That's it. That's it. I reached out to Mike Rowe and his team said no. No big deal. I'm not going to take no for an answer, though. And I'm going to keep reaching out in new and inventive ways. But remember, if you're just getting off the ground, reach out to content creators that have been doing it a while. Reach out to podcasters who have been doing it a while. And don't be shy about it. Tell them what you have to offer for content. Tell them what kind of expert you are, and then just shoot your shot and go for it. Carrie says, you'll be surprised at the positive feedback you'll receive when you put forth genuine effort to reach folks. Yes. So like I said, I had a few people reach out to me. I'm not gonna name names or anything, but there's a couple of people that I'm so proud of that just, shot for the moon. And I'm telling you, the only way to get what you want is to ask for it, because nobody else is going to give it to you without you at least attempting to work for it. And that's what happened for me. I wanted to be on the expert council. So I asked Jack, can I be on the expert council? Worst thing he could have said was no. Okay, no big deal. Again, if you want to do something, jump out there and ask for it, and know you're worth it, because you are. All you content creators that are out there that are like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should do it. If you don't know, do it. Worst case, somebody says no. Best case, you get on somebody who has a huge platform and you get to spread your message. You gain a bunch of new actual subscribers, people who really are into your stuff. And there you go. Bob's your uncle. How great would that be, right? I had a lot of people add me on social, which was great. And these are people that we're going to continue to interact with. The age gap was crazy. It was just awesome. Hogeye Harry from Hogeye Farms was there. What a hilarious dude who just inspires the hell out of you. What a hard worker. Just a great guy to chat with. Oh man, yeah, we're still tired from it. But I really wanted to, and I wanted to get on and give you another ramblings episode where I shared a lot of my thoughts before any of it, kind of dried up or fell out. When I was speaking, part of my presentation was, when you get home, and here's the thing, it's really fun and easy to be excited and motivated when you're around a bunch of other people who are excited and motivated. But in 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, whatever it is, whenever that post-event glow wears off, life's going to get in the way. Your brain's going to start playing tricks with you, and you're going to be talking to yourself, and you're like, you know what? Nah, I'm not worth it. Becky and I were so excited, and we're really considering moving down this way at some point. And there's two ways to look at it. You can say, okay, well, it could get in the way. I don't know what I'm going to do. And you just start looking at all the obstacles and just get discouraged and not do it. Or the other way is, Becky's mindset, you look at the obstacles, and all that is a way to figure out how to make something happen, because you know what's in the way. So now all you have to do is figure out how to get beyond what's in the way. So remember that, guys, because that's so easy. And I'm good at that. I get excited while I'm in an event, and then I kind of get, it's easy to just kind of let it slide. You think, oh, yeah, I know. I'll do it. Hey, James Richter, how are you? And thank you, sir. I just trying to share the truth, man. You're absolutely right. And that's what happens when you leave these events. You're riled up, but keep riding a high. That's why when I did my presentation, I said, come and talk to me. Share with me what your idea is, or tell someone else. Get it out there, make it public, pick your first 2 steps, then take them, and then keep going. Tried cognac for the first time. I'm sure there's a bunch of things I tried that I never had before. But if you've never had cognac, it sounds expensive, but it sure as hell was tasty. 2 or 3 or 4 different types of bourbon. Had 2 chicks. I'm not even sure what it was. It was like a flavored sparkling water alcohol drink that Nate and Aaron brought down from their neck of the woods. I liked it so much that I dug the last 3 of them out of the cooler, one at a time, and drank them. So good. But honestly, the best was probably some of the bourbons we had, and the cognac was exceptional. Oh, what else did we do? The food was so stinking good. The guys over there, Andy and Oxy and Melissa and Leos, Mike, they did an awesome job. We had everything from venison to rabbit to salmon to bratwurst or bratwurst, however you pronounce that. The salad, the homemade salad dressings. Oh, so, this isn't a commercial for an Lftn spring workshop, but I'm telling you, if you haven't been there yet and you're thinking about it, you absolutely need to pull the trigger and get somewhere. Now, something else that comes out of this, and something we've been talking about for a while, some of my compatriots from south of the border, we really need something like this in the Midwest. We also really need something like this on the Canadian prairies. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple more of these type of events kind of spring up out of the aftermath of this year's Lftn. What else? From there, of course, September's coming, so I'm going to be speaking 3 days in a row at Prepper Camp. I met just awesome Rich and, babe, what was Rich's wife's name? Rich and Mrs. Rich and Trish. They were an awesome couple, just a bit older than us. They got a place in North Carolina, and they, anyway, they were just, hey, come and stay with us while you're there, and whether we can make it work or not, just the fact that people would offer this kind of stuff was incredible. We talked to them so often. It was so funny because when they pulled up and we were talking, she's like, oh, we just listened to your episode on post-apocalyptic salvage. And I'm like, how humbling is that? You just talk to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, we were just listening to you on the car coming up. And you forget, you create this content and people are out there, but you just forget that literally, people are listening to you all the time, and it makes you feel pretty damn good. The weather, wow. Everybody warned us about bugs and heat and mud, and we didn't get any of it. The bugs were light, the heat was manageable, and the weather was incredible. It was dry. I just wore sneakers all weekend long. We couldn't have been any happier. Josh Sloan there, PA Prepper, says, hey, from PA, I remotely blessed Leo's workshop bacon. I'm an ordained friar in the Church of Bacon. Well, that explains why it was so damn good and why they could never make enough. I was talking to Andy about it, and he said he thought maybe they'd try to cook about 40 pounds of bacon just to see if people would keep eating it. Because I think there's some reason that us in the preparedness and homesteading field, we just feel like we absolutely need to devour all the bacon that's out there. And we all devour just about everything. I don't even know what my favorite was. I even ate liver that I don't normally like, and whatever they did with this liver, it was great. Like I said, the biggest struggle for us was simply trying to find time to spend with everyone. And you just can't do it, no matter how hard you want. And I'm the type of guy that just wants to give everyone the time that they deserve. And I don't think I'd have been able to if it was a 5-day event. But it was really fun to kind of watch and see how it worked. There's kind of this tied to an event. So we got there on Wednesday night, and, the diehards, the workers, and a few people were there. And then Thursday got really busy, quite busy. And then Friday was the peak. Friday was, everyone was there. And then Saturday was the last day. Saturday morning was really busy. And as the day went on, it got petered out. And it was tough. And then I remember sitting there Saturday night, last night, and we were sitting around just having the greatest conversation. And I looked at Becky, and it was just after 9. You could tell everybody was getting tired. I just had to make my mind up that it was time to get up and say the goodbyes. And that is the hardest part. When you have had this much enjoyable time, I don't know. I don't know how else to put it. We were just like, I was nearly in tears when we left. It was just so, it was exactly what we needed, exactly what we wanted. It was more than we ever expected. And it was incredible. Josh says you get 100% of nothing if you don't at least try. And that's true. And that goes for all of us. Shoot your shot, extend your hand, ask for it. And if you do, who knows? Maybe they'll say yes. Maybe they'll say no. I don't know. Patrick Rorman told me a great story about sending a knife to Mike Rowe. How crazy was it? And he ended up getting a shout out for it. And Mike auctioned off one of his knives for the Mike Rowe Foundation. You just don't know unless you try. So you're right, Josh. Absolutely. And I mentioned karaoke. Had never done that before. Only sang one song, but it was fun. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Beyond that, I just really wanted to get a lot of thoughts out there in the ether before we hop on the plane tomorrow and start, once we head back to real life. So much of this will be either lost or in the background, but I was just excited. And now it was Becky's idea. She's like, hey, you really want to go to Jackson for the fall workshop? I had no plans on it whatsoever, but apparently, I can't say for sure. I got to find out if Jack wants me there to present or not, but I'm going to try to get to the workshop one way or the other in the fall, which will be great. I'm excited about that. I'm going to be a world traveler, making up for all the time that the pandemic shut us all down. But guys, I'm just telling you 2 things. First, if you've never been to something like this, do your damnedest to get to one. And number 2, this is exactly what I want to create. The workshop community has become just such a part of our lives. It makes me smile. I was 2 weeks kind of on the road and just popping in and out with social media when I had a chance to talk to you guys, and I missed you. But more than that, I want to meet in person and do something, at least for now, for my Canadian friends. And so we'll absolutely make something happen. My long-term goal is to have next summer some sort of in-person event. And hopefully the Fireside Freedom crew that's in the Midwest, hopefully they're going to be excited about putting something together. I'll gladly help as much as I can. We'll drive down to it, and that'll be an easy place for as many of us like-minded, freedom-minded, homesteading-loving folk to get together so that you don't have to travel all the way to the south where the bugs and the snakes. Never saw a snake. Oh, yeah, a couple of things I never saw before in my life, and some people laugh, but possums and armadillos. We saw lots of them, didn't we, babe? Unfortunately, most of them were dead on the side of the road. I saw a turtle just walking off the side of the road today. Lots of deer, cardinals, bluebirds. It was great. And Rachel Brown says this will be a part of me for life. Absolutely. Jaggy Thistle, how are you, brother? He says, morning, brother. Did you have a good vacation? Yes. And technically, we were on vacation for about 48 more hours, give or take. So tonight, we're going to sleep in the hotel. We're going to sleep in tomorrow morning because we can. Then we're going to take the rental truck back. Then we're going to fly back to Alberta. We're going to get back to Alberta about bedtime. Roadkill menu, Jaggy says. And we're going to spend a night in Calgary, do a little shopping Tuesday morning, and then we're going to drive back. So we have made the most of this vacation. It's been exciting because, like I said, prepper camp, and if I end up going to the fall workshop, they're going to be more like whirlwind trips, maybe a day on either end, just to decompress and come back. But this is exactly what we needed. We figured out we could talk about, or we could run our businesses from away. We met all of the friends, which was just great. And I wish we could have stayed for weeks more. But hey, who knows? Maybe we'll end up spending 6 months a year, or, spending all of our life there. Eh, babe? Mm-hmm. And I got to really here's the thing. So when I say that I'm able to run my business and Becky's able to run her business from afar, it's only because we have incredible family and incredible employees who will absolutely stand up and take care of things for us. And I got to shout them out. They don't always listen to this, but First off, you guys know Charlotte. Charlotte and Alice, they helped hold the fort down for the most part without too much fighting. Olivia, my daughter, who came home from the city to dog sit for 2 weeks, thank you for allowing us to have the time to get away. My son, Mackenzie, I'm proud of you beyond belief. You were able to take care of the things we needed to take care of. And if you weren't sure, that's what FaceTime's for, buddy. You did a good job. Amy and Barrett, my in-laws, they took care of so much. My brother-in-law, Barrett, is just willing to run and do anything. I know Amy dealt with a lot of shit at the daycare in the last week that was unexpected, and that's totally fine. Who else am I forgetting? Gracie, my daughter, who just ran around and did anything and everything that needed to be done, helped hold down the fort at the daycare. So, yeah, like I said, we get to do this, but we got to do it because we had so much awesome support up north, close to where Santa Claus lives, right? Oh, and yes, Curtis, that would be my future son-in-law. He he's been great about running back and forth and looking after Olivia, that's my daughter, and making sure that he has life taken care of for them in the city. So when Olivia gets back, it'll be great. And I got to shout out to my dogs too, because most of them still talk to me on the phone when I call, except for Maisie. She ignores me because she now hates me for leaving her behind. Jaggy says, look forward to your vacation over the side of the pond. Lots of single malts. We'll do it the best we can anyway. I know Becky will be coming for sure, and we'll see. Rachel says, I've heard possum is good eating according to Grandpa. I've also heard that. Don't know how much I'd be willing to test it. I guess in a real bad scenario. All I can tell you, I've probably told this story before, but one time years ago, my Uncle Jim, cooked a roast for his wife. She came home. She ate the whole thing. Loved it. He said, wow, how great was that? She goes, oh, it was the best I ever had. And he said, well, you just ate porcupine. And she chased him all around the house and decided she wanted to beat him. So, yeah. Jaggy says, Charlotte and Alice, super special kids. They are, and they love their Uncle Jaggy from across the pond. They just love to talk to you. They love to hear from you. And they're just, yeah, they're great. Marvin says, woof, woof, I to the pups. So Marvin says, hi to the dogs. Thanks, Jaggy. I appreciate it. Hey, Zachariah, how are you? He says, I want to try groundhog someday. I just want to make sure that you cook it up really well. Chris Dixon says, porcupine is good, so I think possum would be about the same. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know. I know it's hard to talk about that with because Becky would never eat it in 100 years, and that's totally fine. But yeah, I'm willing to try anything once. I've tried a few exotic meats, but I don't know. Maybe Chris Dixon, maybe you know this. My brother-in-law's told me before that porcupine is protected in Alberta because it's like one of the only animals that you can walk up to and club it over the head if you needed to eat. I don't know how much truth there is in that. I know in Nova Scotia, you absolutely could shoot them, hunt them, whatever. Jaggy says, I think possum will taste a bit like haggis. Well, in my, there's just the name haggis. Like, it's like if you ever wanted to invent the absolute worst food in the world, you would name it haggis. And then you would put organ meat stuffed inside of intestines that smells gross and tastes gross. I'm sorry, but the name haggis is absolutely perfect for the food haggis. And I'm sorry, Jaggy, I'm busting your balls a little bit, buddy. But yeah, that blows me away. I don't know, just funny. So it reminds me of some of the stuff my dad used to eat back in the day. But yeah, beyond that, we've had so much fun in the States. We've honestly found so many polite people. We found a few things. One other observation we found was that meals tend to be significantly cheaper, even when you decide, even when you figure in the exchange rate for it. So that's kind of neat, but also the amount of restaurants are incredible. The minimum wage is much lower. So a lot of the servers rely on tips. It's kind of cool. I don't think I mentioned this in the last video, but there's this viral video going around right now that talks about an employee at the Waffle House, our new favorite restaurant, at least my favorite. And they were saying they were making, with tips, over $1,000 a week. And apparently a lot of the fellow employees said the same thing, that it's pretty common. And I am going to do an entire episode on Waffle House, and I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm kind of excited. You guys know I love these oddball off the wall kind of conversations and topics. But all I can tell you is it's going to be 100% preparedness based episode, and it's going to be all about Waffle House. So you guys can guess where you want to go from there, but some things I learned about them that blew me away. Chris says, no, they're not protected, but I'm sure if you had a truckload of them, Fish and Game might have some questions. Yes, you're probably right. Plus, a truckload of, can you imagine getting in an accident with a truckload of porcupines and say they rolled through the dash or through the cab with you? That would be a mess. Jaggy says, where's that report button? Dissing haggis needs to be reported because it's protected. Poor old haggis. It tastes lovely. It's a good thing I haven't eaten in a little while. I might just, be a little sick to my stomach, but I still love you, Jaggy. You know, I have to give you a hard time. So yeah, guys, there it is. 40 minutes. Give me a week or so to really think about Lftn and really build out the lessons that I learned. And I might do a more formal episode, but I really wanted to get this on before I lost it all. Before I walked out, life got back in the way, and I forgot half of what I learned. You know, it's an experience, it's a feeling, it's a motivating factor, and it's all and more and all of that. It was so great. Hey, Dan Warren, how are you? Sorry you're late, bud. But yeah, so guys, if you ever get the chance, reach out and do something in person, because first off, it is absolutely possible to get to know people and to build relationships online way more than it ever used to be. So if that's all you have, that's all you can do. But at some point, take the time, get out there and meet up in real life. Even if you're nervous, even if you're anxious, or even if you just hate people, you got to do it, because lone wolves just won't survive long term. We need to be part of a flock or a herd or a group of like-minded people. So anyway, guys, that's it for me this week. There'll be, man, the podcast feed's all jammed up right now, but this morning I released the presentation. Tonight I'll release this in the audio, and tomorrow will be the fifth and final in the I'm Scared, Getting Prepared kind of series. So thanks for having you guys. It was good to see you. Dan, Jaggy, Rachel, Martinson family, Chris Dixon, Zachariah, Rachel, and anyone else that I absolutely missed there. Josh Salone, thanks for dropping by, guys. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.